The site of the palace and gardens of Schoenbrunn is outstanding as one of the most impressive and well-preserved Baroque ensembles of its kind in Europe. It's an important symbol of the power and influence of the House of Habsburg over a long period of European history, from the end of the 17th to the early 20th century. The park at the Schoenbrunn Palace, which had originally been used as a hunting ground by the Habsburgs, eventually transformed into a picturesque Baroque complex under the Emperor Franz I Stephen in the mid-18th century. It was opened to the public around 1779, and since then has provided popular recreational opportunities for the Viennese population, as well as being a focus of great cultural and historical interest for international visitors. Extending for 1.2 kilometers from east to the west and approximately 1 kilometer from north to south, the park, along with the palace, was designated the World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1996. In keeping with the principles of Baroque horticultural design, the gardens were an expression of a ruler status. The central axis of the palace formed the backbone of the gardens, whose symmetry was determined by orthogonal and diagonal axes. At the south side of the palace, the parterre with its strictly symmetrical beds occupied the largest open space in the gardens. In the mid-18th century, the beds consist of formal patterns made with strips of box hedging on colored gravel or sand, and were known as broderie patterns, since these motifs were mostly taken from embroidery patterns. In 1777, Johann Wilhelm Baer and his team of sculptors, the same team who created Neptune Fountain, created 32 statues of equal height on the tall plinths along the two lateral hedges in the Schoenbrunn Gardens, representing mythological or historical figures. The majority of statues were designed after the models from antiquity. The statues are numbered from 1 to 32 on the side of the plinths to make the subjects easier to identify. The sequence starts at the eastern hedge in front of the palace facade and ends on the western side. Flora, with a wreath of flowers in her hand, is the goddess of flowers and blossoms. She also represents spring seasons and fertility. Paris and Helen. In Sparta, Paris met the beautiful Helen, wife of King Menelaus. He persuaded her to flee with him and then refused to give her back to Menelaus. This marked the beginning of the 10-year siege of Troy. Mars and Minerva. Minerva, goddess of the peaceful arts, wearing a helmet with a plume, stops the god of war Mars from drawing his sword from his sheath. The escape from Troy. The group of figures shows the Trojan hero Aeneas, who rescues his paralyzed father, Anchises, from the city conquered by the Greeks. In the Baroque period, the escape from Troy was seen as a parable of care and piety, which were among the most important princely virtues.